I've put a lot of thought into this, and this is what I've decided on. I'm introducing a scoring system into my channel similar to that of IGN, GameSpot, or Polygon, and yes, it will be out of 10. Now I know, scores take away from the actual content of the review. I think there is a truth to that, and maybe people put too much stock in numbers. But the fact is that scores can also be helpful. It allows a consumer to take one look at a 100% spoiler-free piece of information and get an idea of how good a game is. That's particularly useful for games that are spoiled by describing what's good about them. Examples of that would be Expand and Spec Ops: The Line. In both videos, I kind of advise people not to watch the review, which is an awkward thing to say. But it was really how I felt. If I'd reviewed Undertale, I have a feeling I would have said much the same thing. This way, with a score, I can have an annotation in every single video that takes the viewer to a section of the video that will always be 100% spoiler-free without gameplay, that will also tell them my opinion of the game. Now, this scoring system is going to take into account a few different variables. I have two different sets of categories at the moment for regular games and extremely story-heavy games. The process is pretty simple. I'm going to give each category a score out of 10 and then average them off to get a final number. I'm also going to add in another metric for all of my reviews, which will be personal enjoyment. There have been times when I've recognized that a game is great but not necessarily enjoyed it myself and vice versa, and that's just a way of measuring that because you're watching my review and so it should be personal to me. How am I going to pick a number between 1 and 10 for each of the categories though? Well, I'm doing it based off of what people believe to be true, rather than what should be true. I know rating a game that you think is meh as 6 or 7 out of 10 is kind of dumb. That said, that's what people think of when they hear a game is rated 7 out of 10. That's just the truth. I think it would be misguided of me to indulge myself so much in pride as to run my score system differently from the rest of the established reviewers and then so confuse consumers. It might be that I give a category a 10 out of 10. It's unlikely a game will ever get an absolute 10 out of 10 for me in every category, but the point is that for me, like the mainstream reviewers, 10 doesn't have to mean perfect. There's no reason, other than being pedantic, to value the number 7 differently on my channel to the rest of the internet. That said, I did want to add my own flair to it. The Rye Seal of Approval. Now, I've changed the meaning of this award 50 times already, but this is going to be the established meaning of it. I will only give a game a Rye Seal of Approval if my personal enjoyment score was 8 or above. It'll be a signifier of my own personal picks, and I'll keep a list of them. As a reviewer, you have to try and be at least somewhat objective with your reviews. It's impossible to be entirely objective, but many times in the scripts of my reviews I'm holding back some, but not all, personal gripes, and I do that so that I never steer the viewer in a particular direction. I try to see it from different points of view. I'll still be doing that, but this is a way of me giving extra credit to the games I love. This whole thing was no small decision for me, but just know that my reviews will be staying exactly the same other than at the end of the verdict when I give the score. Ultimately, this won't change your experience much if you've enjoyed my reviews up until this point in my YouTube career. Thank you very much for watching. See ya.